Hi, I'm Christa Jacobson, headmistress of the Budokai, where we teach authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai bujutsu. And for those of you who don't know what that is, those are the ancient martial arts of the ninja and samurai. In today's video, we're going to discuss Musha Shugyo, or warrior's journey, right? So we're going to be jumping back to ancient Japan and looking at historical samurai training. Now, before I begin, I just want to say that if you guys have not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. If you guys are interested in the historical samurai or ninja, classical Japanese martial arts, koru, survival skills, reality-based self-defense, fight techniques, martial art theory, thought, and philosophy, that's what we're putting on this particular channel. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to click the little bell. That way you guys can get all the updates that we do put up. Like I said, I do put up 2 to 3 videos a week, and I could use all the love and support I could get. So thank you very much for those of you guys who are watching this for the first time and have already clicked that subscribe button. Also, before we begin, one more thing. I want to say that I'm going to stay away from the word Ronin. I'm probably going to use the word Ronin in the headline and the title of the video, but that's just because a lot of people use the word Ronin. The reality of it is most people use the word Ronin wrong. So it's not that they, most people use it wrong in the context of what it was really meant for in ancient Japan. So not that it's wrong per se, it's just not absolutely correct by the way it should be. So I'm going to stay away from the word Ronin, although a lot of people do look at what we're going to discuss today as the hardships of a Ronin or a quote-unquote wandering samurai. We're going to approach this particular lesson today from a different perspective, more of a historical perspective, okay? So although this is not wrong to say that this is, the ways of a Ronin, it's not necessarily accurate either, just to keep it as such. So kind of staying away from that, okay? So I will be reading from one of my books, the Kage-no-Sho, right here, which means Book of Shadows. And anybody who's part of the Budokai, or you guys are a Budokai supporter, this is a good book to have. It goes really into my thoughts and my philosophy and thoughts from each of the areas of training that we have within the Budokai. So it does have, each chapter represents one of the areas of training within our school, and I go through 25 very important points with each part of those chapters or sections of training. So I'm going to be reading from the chapter Nihon Musha-Kyu, which means the study of the ancient warrior, out of the book Kage-no-Sho. I will have all the information in the description below if you guys would like to purchase that book. And what I'm going to be going over is the 7 hardships of a Shugyosha. So Musha Shugyo, like Musha literally means like warrior, and Shugyosha means like journey, quest, pilgrimage, or something along those lines, depending on how you want to use it in a sentence. But generally speaking, Musha Shugyo means a warrior's journey. Now, another word that most people use with Musha Shugyo, like I said, is Ronin, but the word that is more accurate would be a Shugyosha. So a Shugyosha would be a person who's going on a journey, okay? So according to the Bukkyo Shigen Goden Ryu, there are 7 hardships that someone would have to master while going on a Musha Shugyo, okay? Now, the reason you see these 7 hardships, the reason this is important, is because if you're going to be a warrior, you're going to be a warrior, you're going to be samurai, you're going to, do these things, you need to understand and have to deal with hardship in your life before you can attain to that level. I think if I back out a bit real quick and let me just discuss what that means, I think most people can relate to the idea that the people who are born with a silver spoon and get everything handed to them, the moment they run into hardship, they fail and they never become successful. The only reason they're successful is because they were born rich, they have daddy's money, and because they were born rich, they've attained a high level of something, but they never really had to work for it. And a lot of those people who were born rich, they absolute failure in life. It's just that because they had all that money to start, they just kept going and getting higher and like social status, I guess, so to speak, right? But the people who had to work for it, they go through the hardships. Those are the ones who really started, getting those skills. I mean, we've said many times in martial arts, failure is the best lesson. You learn more from losing a sparring match than what you do from winning a sparring match. And life is a great teacher. Life's the best teacher. It puts you on your ass every other day, and you can either, learn from what's going on, or, you don't. It's up to you. So these particular hardships that we're going to go over, they're designed to force the individual to have to deal with the hardship of life. It forces the individual to be humble. It doesn't matter whether this was a samurai who were born into samurai family and they got a lot of money, and so on and so forth. these 7 hardships is what forces that individual to have to understand humility, have to understand hardship, what it's like to not have that silver spoon, what it's like to not have that money, what it's like to survive without any help. And, you know, that skill set, that mentality and understanding that goes a long way when you're trying to be, you know, a samurai or a teacher or a role model or a martial arts instructor or whatever. So I do go into this particular lesson in the book in another chapter on why I think it's so important in my thoughts and philosophies on this particular topic, and why I think other people in the martial arts community should be looking at these from a modern perspective and applying them to your life, and why I think that's so useful. Like I said, it's going to be in this particular book, Kage-no-Sho, and it will be in the description below if you guys would like to purchase it. But we're not going to get into my thoughts. We're just going to give you guys what those 7 are, okay? According to the Bukkyo Shigen, there are 7 hardships for martial training while on a musha Shugyo. Number 1. Experience days of cold and heat, withstand exposure to wind and rain, and walk mountain roads and difficult paths. Number 2. Do not sleep under a roof. Consider it fundamental to sleep out in the open. Number 3. Be patient with hunger and cold. Carry no money or food provisions. Number 4. If there is a battle at one's destination, participate and achieve great merit. Be direct in combat and avoid acting like a thief. Number 5. Go alone to places frightening to the common man, places where evil spirits congregate and where there are bewitching foxes and poisonous snakes. Number 6. Become a criminal on purpose. Be put in jail and extricate yourself by your own wisdom. Number 7. Consider your position to be lower than that of a farmer and make your living helping others in the paddies and fields. Now, each one of those 7, as you can see, forces an individual to have to be, to have to withstand hardship in life. I mean, if just an easy run with that, you're going to sleep outside, so you're going to have to find your own food. You got to find your own water. You got to build your own shelter. You're leaving your food and your money at home. You're not taking it with you. Wherever you go, if there is a battle, you have to participate in the battle, and you have to do really well. But while you're doing it, you know, achieve great status during that fight, but avoid acting like a thief or avoid acting suspicious. When you go to certain places, you also want to make sure that you are, what was the last one talks about, you know, make yourself lower than that of a farmer or a merchant, and you want to help work in the paddies and the fields. So again, you have no money and you're doing some of the shit work, grunt work, you know, and all that kind of stuff, and forces you to have to work for something when you have nothing. And all those lessons really help shape the mindset of a samurai, or shape the mindset of a warrior, right? And those are those hardships of a warrior's journey that someone has to understand when going through those steps. Now, if you look at them from a different perspective, I mean, obviously, like I said, if you want to see my take on it from a modern perspective, it'd be in the book. But if you look at this from a samurai perspective, or, you know, historical bujutsu perspective, number 1, it speaks for itself. Experience the days of cold and heat, withstand exposure to wind and rain, and walk mountain paths that's, you know, difficult paths, you know. Okay, you know what I mean? That's just basically saying you need to make sure that you withstand nature. You know, nature's going to kick your ass, the elements are going to kick your ass, and you got to take it. And you don't know where you're going, but wherever you're going, you go, right? And the second one is don't sleep under a roof. So it's saying, you know, it definitely, I don't think that necessarily means you can't build like a small little something to sleep on. I believe that to be, you know, you're not sleeping in an inn or in a hotel. They didn't have hotels, but still in an inn or a house or something like that, right? I'm just saying you have to sleep out in the open with nature. So you're going to be sleeping out in the middle of the woods. So you're going to have survival skills to be doing this, because you're going to have to hunt. You're going to have to trap. You're going to have to gather. You're going to have to find water, disinfect water, and you're going to have to make a shelter if needed. So that right there, those are skills that you're going to have, which we incorporate in our particular program that I don't think a lot of martial arts schools do, but it is going to be a particular set of skills that they would be needing. 3, be patient with hunger and cold. Carry no money or provisions. We talked about that. 4, if there is a battle, you got to make sure that you kick ass. You want to make sure that people recognize that you did really fucking good, but you got to avoid acting like a thief. So when you do that, don't do it where you're trying to steal something from someone or steal something. Make sure that you do something and you get credit for being great, not because you did something and then you're trying to take something from someone else. 5, go alone to places frightening to the common run of man, or places where evil spirits congregate, where there are bewitching foxes and poisonous snakes. So basically out in the middle of nowhere where not even people, you're off the beaten path on that point, right? You're not even going down a path in the middle of the woods, you're off in the middle of nowhere. Become a criminal on purpose and be put in jail and extricate yourself by your own wisdom. This is a particular point that I think is important, and the reason for that, and you know, I think that being part of, you know, the criminal world, so to speak, to a certain degree, or understanding how they work does help. Because if you've never actually associated yourself in that world where you have, you know, drug dealers or, you know, everything you can think of in this world where there's like drugs and strippers and all this kind of shit going on, and where all the criminals tend to be and all this kind of thing, if you've never associated yourself with that particular world, then it's going to be very difficult for you to understand true self-defense or how to protect yourself against violence or against criminals. So become a criminal on purpose. He's saying you should do that, get thrown in jail, then you know how they think. And once you know how they think, it gives you that one, you can use that as, okay, they're going to do this, so I'm going to do this. These particular steps, by the way, if you guys are into Batman, the first Batman with Christian Bale, I don't know the name of the movie right off the top of my head, but they basically made that first part of Batman where like he met Ra's al Ghul on top of the mountains and shit. They basically took these 7 and kind of intermixed them into that particular start of that movie. You know, he was thrown in jail and blah, blah, blah. Here he is, Bruce Wayne, he's rich, right? And he goes out and he endures the cold, and he has fucking nothing. He left his money, he left his home, he left his cars, and, you know, he's going to the mountain and he gets to be trained as a ninja and so forth. But anyway, this particular set of hardships have become kind of the staple for a lot of those type of movies, but in case you have not already picked up on that. And the last one is consider your position lower than that of farmers and make sure that you make a living helping people in the paddies and in the rice fields. So and I think that's important too. So it's, you know, not only is it that you don't have nothing, but it's forcing you to work for something. You know what I mean? And I think that actually is something that's very important. So from a historical perspective, again, I've wrote about it in my book, the Kage-no-Sho. The source that I referenced when I wrote my thoughts on this particular subject in my book comes from the Bukkyo Shigen Goden Ryu. But I do think that these 7 hardships are the hardships that I think is very important for a lot of warriors or martial artists or whatever to go through or understand, because they do help the mindset of what it's like to survive, that the difference between knowledge and wisdom, right? And understanding the difference in knowledge and wisdom, you would have to understand why you would want to go through those things. And I can say, you know, that, you know, in my life, you know, I'm not trying to be like I'm better than anybody. I mean, you know, the gods know my ass ain't walking on water, but I can say that I have gone through those 7 on more than one occasion, and I do use my life experience as a means to teach martial arts and to teach true self-defense within the Budo Ryukai. So anyway, those are the 7 hardships of a Shugyosha, or a warrior in training going on a Musha Shugyo. If you guys are interested in authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai bujutsu, please check out my website at www.budodinninjutsu.com. There you can see training philosophy, a list of our schools, and the different traditions that we teach. If you don't live next to one of our schools, you can always join the Budo Ryukai online ninjutsu dojo, and you can study with us through the online dojo. So thank you guys very much for all of your love and support. I deeply appreciate it. Again, subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell, right? Thank you guys for your love and support, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.